the formula that I created for saying no, it allows people to feel heard, validated, and to leave feeling good, because people remember how we make them feel. Everybody can tell. They can tell if you're, checking your watch constantly. They know if you're not fully present. They know if you said yes just to make them happy.
Make sure that he's having that right moment with this every child of his, like full focus to give them. And this is what matters a lot to them.
Everybody knows AI in the last couple of years since ChatGPT came out.
Perfect. So thank you very much, Jen, for coming for my podcast, Business Breakthrough. It's very nice having you in here. And would you mind just maybe start opening up with the bestseller book what you wrote about boundaries? Because sometimes I'm finding it very difficult to set the boundaries with people around me. And to be honest, it sometimes eats of my time. And probably because you are very experienced and successful, you know a lot about it. So maybe we can start with that.
Oh, sure thing. So I'm really excited to be here. And I didn't want to write the book. Like, full disclosure, I didn't want to write the book. I came from sports medicine. I didn't set boundaries myself. So I don't want anybody to think that I was like naturally a guru. I went through my own journey as a healthcare provider and a parent and an entrepreneur and all the things with all the demands on my time. And there came a moment when my husband and I finally took a trip, after we were finally taking some time together, and our marriage was falling apart because I gave everything to my career and to the athletes that I served and to everybody else, but I didn't pour into myself, and I didn't have enough left over for him, obviously. And so I had to do something different, and I had to learn how to set boundaries. As a result, I then became very passionate about it because I literally left sports medicine. That was what caused me to leave sports medicine. One of the things that caused me to leave sports medicine in favor of doing what was more passion for me. And that was, how do I reclaim my time? I had to set the hard boundary. So the book is Over My Dead Body, The Art of Saying No, a step-by-step journey towards boundaries that stick. It published in 2019 and went bestseller internationally in 32 countries because the prior books on boundaries were all related to religion. And a lot of people who couldn't relate to scripture-based text, even if they were very Christian, it was mostly Christian-based boundaries. It was triggering for some people. So I was speaking before I wrote the book, and finally a coach told me, hey, you better have something for them to take away and something for them to share. And so that was the impetus. And really, boundaries is about focus. It's about saying no. But if you think about it just as a no, it really is saying yes to you and your top priorities. So if we say yes to everything, which was me, I said yes to everything before I learned how to do this. But if you learn how to utilize your no in a way to stay focused on what matters most to you or your top priorities in business or life, what you're able to do is double down on what matters most. And it frees up so much time because now you're focused and you're able to actually achieve your objectives and actually learn. You do more as you go. And really the key to success is the formula for saying no. So a lot of people think no is a rejection, or they don't want to tell somebody no because they don't want to hurt their feelings. But the reality is the formula that I created for saying no, it allows people to feel heard, validated, and to leave feeling good, because people remember how we make them feel, not even what we say. So it looks something like, thank you. So if you were to invite me to dinner tonight, for example, and whether I have plans or not is irrelevant, I would say, you know what, thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it. Then you validate the offer. I hear that you're looking for company for dinner. Maybe we're at an event or something and you don't want to dine alone. Unfortunately, I have other plans. So it's thank you, validation. If you have to press pause and step away, press pause and step away, or you insert the boundary. I have another obligation, right? Saying no in a nice way, and then add value. Have you thought about asking so-and-so, can I introduce you to this group? I know they're going together. So that adding value on the back end is everything, because you're helping them find a resolution to the ask. And let me give you another example. Like in business, I'm very careful about who we work with. If you're not aligned with me and with my company values, I don't do business with you. In any business, whether we're talking about AI, consulting, coaching, or M&A, none of it. I will not do business if you don't align in values. And so Thank you for reaching out to me. I hear you're looking for a partner with my direct skill set. I really appreciate that you reached out to me. So gratitude. I hear that you have this specific need. Unfortunately, I have too much on my plate. I am completely focused on these priorities right now. So I've set the boundary and said no without saying no.
Mhm.
However, I have these resources for you. This person is really interested in this. This person is really interested. Would you like a connection?
Mhm.
So I've said no in a way that doesn't feel icky and it actually builds the relationship. So that's why the book was written. And really that formula has been successful. I've coached hundreds of entrepreneurs in this, and really helped them to reclaim their time and energy, both in their business and their life, and scale their business along the way, because now you're able to focus on your core priorities and say no to the things that are not in alignment.
Yeah, that's really good, to be honest. I'm definitely ordering that book. It's gonna be real helpful. And I'm gonna pass it to my business partners too, because yeah, like you already covered pretty much all the things when I want to ask about it, but it was about especially like hurting someone, like the feeling like they're asking for help on something which you know is not, even if you don't have anything planned, let's say for that afternoon, but you know that you can, I don't know, let's say I don't plan everything, like I don't plan in a calendar, like reading the book, but I know if I can do that, so I can do that instead. So, but there is nothing, let's say scheduled. It's in that point, but they'll ask and you can check like, okay, there is nothing, but you don't really want to do it because you know it's not valuable your task. But how, like you said, like adding the value at the end, finding some solutions for them. Yeah, really good.
Well,
Yeah.
and Vincent, it's really funny because the emotions, like we put those emotions and we feel guilty. At least female caregiver, like I was a caregiver, a professional caregiver. I'm a physical therapist by trade with degree in psychology. And so I was working with athletes and helping them to become better. And so when you have a role that is dedicated to that, and even in coaching, I care
Mm.
very deeply for the success of my clients and for their well-being. And so when you care that much, it's very easy for you to say yes, even though you are not necessarily filling your own cup back up, so you're overflowing. And so there's guilt. That's natural. It's natural to feel like, man, I really wish I could help this person, or maybe we really do want to help this person. We just don't have the capacity sometimes or the energy. There's a lot of reasons that we don't want to say yes to certain things. But I'll tell
Mm.
you this, if you flip that script in your mindset and you say, if I say yes to this, will I show up 100% present for the entirety of whatever the task or the event is? If I can't say yes, I'm going to be 100% present and excited, inspired to be there, then it is my responsibility to say no, because everybody can tell. Everybody can tell. They can tell if you're, checking your watch constantly. They know if you're not fully present. They know if you said yes just to make them happy. But the ultimate result is they're not getting the best of you, so that you're not an energetic match for what they're looking for anyway. So it actually is in service to say no to the things that we don't feel inspired to do. If we feel obligated, we show up in a different energy. It's just a reality. Whether you believe in that energetic thing or not is irrelevant. It's true. If I feel obligated, I'm not coming super excited to be there. I'm coming like, okay, how long do I have to be here before I can gracefully duck out? So it really is a mindset shift that is, am I inspired or obligated? If I'm obligated, then I have to say no because it's not fair to that other person.
Mm.
Someone else will show up inspired for them.
Mm.
And so I kind of look at that lens, and it helps with the guilt. It helps with, I don't want to let them down poorly. It helps with sort of the feeling and emotion side of things.
Mm. Yeah. But firstly, I would like to say thank you very much that you said yes to this podcast. Give me give me the alternative, and so you are here because obviously your time is very valuable. So I'm very happy for that. Thank you. Um, Also on that point, I would like to mention where I found it very difficult, and I have learned that now. But I have three daughters, right? And let's say I come home and they want to play, they want to do things, and uh, and sometimes like let's say I'm in office and I didn't exercise yet anything, and I like to go for a run. So sometimes like before I would be like okay, I would be playing with them, do stuff, and after I would be just losing that energy because I wouldn't have that the physique, and I wouldn't be playing with them 100% anyway. So I learned a while ago that now I can not like I come home and I do go for a run right away, but I play with them a little bit. And then after like, okay, I'll be back in half an hour, go for a quick run, come back, have much more energy, and I can actually play with them longer and I can actually help more things at home. My wife, it's just because I, like you said, I filled up my own cup. And from that, what I just said, because you were working with obviously athletes and sport people, how is that important to be focusing on our physiology when it comes to running our own business? Because you run your own businesses, and obviously, I truly believe that the body and mind is connected. But how much? Because I don't have any data. I don't know, but I'm trying to do my best. But probably you know more, so if you can maybe share a little bit about that.
Yes, there is a tremendous amount of data in here. And it doesn't matter whether we're using mental calories and mental strain or we are using physical strain. So athletes, everybody thinks it's because they train harder, 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 harder. They do train. They train for years to become an Olympic athlete and get to the gold. That's true. But they also, part of their training is recovery.
Yeah.
And so rest and recovery isn't just sleep. It's how am I fueling my body? How am I gently moving my body? It might be mindfulness. It might be breathing exercises so that they can mitigate the stress because exercise is a physiological stress. So in the world of entrepreneurship, we maybe our exercise is mostly mental. That also has the same impact. We end up with, our brain requires metabolic function. There's metabolic waste. So we require actually recovery so that we don't get brain fog, so that we can think clearly, so that we can have that creative problem solving on firing on all cylinders, and we can have speed of implementation, which is what is really the driver between success and failure. And so as we are working through our day, and this is even more important in AI, I did a lot of AI optimization and I realized that I'm only doing the highest function of my brain. So I actually can do less focused work when I'm using my brain full power. I have to take more rest breaks and I go and I move my body physiologically to clear some of that. And then I'm able to come back and focus full time. So there's a tremendous body of research on recovery and rest and the importance of that. And the other thing is there's a lot of research that shows how much we can be maximally efficient as human beings. The standard deviation is 45 to 52 minutes of focused work is all we can be fully attentive to and be maximally efficient. So one of the things that we work on with our clients is how are you scheduling your energy and time management? And do you have that 5 to 10 minute break every hour so that you can move your body, hydrate, and take care of the physiology side of you, and recover so that you can come back focused and do more? Because and it's a fight, because as entrepreneurs, we're always working. Some of us work 17 hours a day. I know I'm guilty. I mean, I've had days where I sleep 3 hours. Not anymore. I don't, because I've recognized that if I take the breaks during the day, I actually get almost twice as much done in the day, and don't need to work as long because we slowly get less and less efficient over time. And there's a ton of research in this space. But it's how we structure our day that matters. And so when we put these, I mean, some people call them movement snacks now, that's become a term, but putting these little movement minutes into our workday helps us to metabolize and to clear some of those toxins. So some of the easiest things you can do if you're watching, every hour, take 5 minutes, go walk outside, have the sun shine on you, take a couple of deep breaths. And then the next hour, at the next hour, do calf raises. So up and down on your toes, because your calf pumps all of the blood that's ended up sitting in our heels, whether we're standing or sitting at our desk. It brings it all up through the heart and lungs to oxygenate, and it improves our focus and everything else. Sit to stands or squats for a minute to 2 minutes is another really good exercise. So think about every hour, just one type of exercise for a minute to 2 minutes to get that blood pumping and flowing, and intersperse a couple of mindfulness, like total mental states. And if you're in an office and you're watching this, you're like, that's great, Jen, but I sit in an office for 8 hours. Fantastic. Turn your chair opposite of all of your electronics, close your eyes, and do a mindfulness breathing or a meditation. If you need to use an app, that's fine, but don't be looking at a screen, because that helps us to kind of clear some of that so that we can be maximally efficient and effective. If we're not physically peak performing, we cannot mentally peak perform. And if we're not physically and mentally peak performing, then it doesn't matter what our business strategy and tactics are, we're not going to have the optimal result. So their two are intertwined together, and it's really important that we work on all.
Absolutely, man. Totally agree. I have a mini trampoline in my office. So every and now I have this new watch. I've never had this watch. I was like, I don't need it. And now I'm so happy because it's like you said, like every hour it's just like stand up and walk. I go and I go and do something because it just tells me. And after I can track it. So it's a bit of fun as well. But like you said about the energy of working. So I've been now 2 months in March and April in Spain with my family. And I said, like, okay, I'll be working from there as well because it's 2 months, obviously. And so I set myself a days where I'll be working 3 days a week. I'll be working, and 2 days I won't be working now, and that is a week. And I found out, and I was going for a run, roughly 4 or 5 times a week actually. And I found out that actually in these 3 days, I'm actually able to do 5 days work, what I used to do in here. So it was really good. It's just because the exercise and just pushing me to do it in a shorter time, being more efficient. And just heading tomorrow again for 1 month to Czech Republic, where I'm from. And I have the same structure: Monday, Wednesday, Friday working. And the other days we're actually gonna go for hikes and do stuff. But I know it's gonna be enough because I can really focus and do a lot in that short period of time. But like you said, in the past, it'll be like sitting behind the laptop for hours. And I would feel like I've done a lot. I feel like I'm busy. But like one guy, when we were going on this event, he was just saying like, you are a busy idiot. It's like not accomplishing much. So I'm like, that's how I was before. But it's never-ending improvement. Like it's every day learning and doing more. So if you can maybe share, because this is really good, and as I can see that you are really fast. You probably do like 300% of things in one day. You're like a machine.
But I was an athlete and I have an athlete mindset. And I now prioritize my sleep. I used to get by on like 3 hours of sleep until I was in my mid 40s. And then
Wow.
I started slowing down and realized that, you know what, we can tell ourselves everything, but it ultimately will catch up to us. So now I actually am able to do more because I prioritize the recovery time. So I make sure that I shut down by a certain time. I make sure that I have good sleep hygiene so that I can get rested, because otherwise my brain doesn't function and I can't fire on all cylinders. So, like it really and truly is about the rest and recovery. If we don't have that and we don't start there, it doesn't matter what we do by movement or nutrition. Like that literally is the foundation of our health. It's also the foundation of allowing us to be maximally effective and efficient. And what happens, Vincent, when we take these breaks, it compresses our work time. So it forces us to do the things that are the most important. And it helps us to sort of sort and sift through the busy work that we were doing that was not actually revenue generating or promoting our business or yielding the result that we want. So it's not like it happens overnight. It's a work in progress, and it's always a work in progress. But by setting the boundaries and taking those times, like you said, when you take the days and you go for your run or you do the things, it allows us to really take a hard look at what am I doing in my day. And so this is in my book too, but I'm going to give you a tool for all the people who are watching. And that's, I want you to write down your top 3 priorities in business and your top 3 priorities in life. Just write down the top 3 in business and life. You can only have one top 1 priority. So circle that top 1 priority of the 3. And then your homework is to go into your calendar, and every single thing you're doing during your workday, which of those top 3 priorities is it addressing? And in your regular life, like your home life or your outside of business activities, which of those 3 priorities are you honoring? And then and anything that's not in alignment with those top 3 in business or in life, highlight it in your calendar and start canceling. Because the reality is you're not living your priorities. And when you are able to laser focus and do all activities in alignment with achieving the priorities that you set or the things that you say are most important, it's almost like magic happens. And you'll see very clearly when you do this exercise how much you're doing that's not yielding the result that you thought. And it's not like you're going to be perfect at it the first time, but it's an excellent exercise. It's also in my book, but it's an excellent exercise to do regularly, because even in business, as we scale, some of the activities that were revenue generating and that were helping us to scale are no longer the right activities for us to get to the next level. Just like we need a new strategy to get to the next level, we also need to be doing different things during the day. And it's those daily habits, the daily activities that yield our successful at reaching our goals or whatever it is that we're set up for. So, and in personal life, like I'm going to use your example with your children. Our kids, they don't need more time with us. They need more quality, focus, and attention. The absolute best gift we can give to children is our 100% undivided, focused attention. And if we give 30 minutes of that, it surpasses 8 hours of us having a phone or a device in our hand or only half attending them. And it's because it's that focused attention that brings the memories, and that really, really they feel seen and heard. And they don't know how to tell this to us, especially when they're really young. But it's that what they feel, they can sense those things. Because after all, we're all human when we boil down to it.
Yeah, they won't remember everything. They'll just remember the certain moments in life, the good ones. And I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins. Don't say to JP, okay? I did a lot of events with him, or did as well. And he's talking about it a lot, about this. He's calling the magic moments, because he was traveling a lot around the world. And he's like, make sure that he's having that right moment with this every child of his, like full focus to give them. And this is what matters a lot to them, for sure. About the productivity, obviously now we have AI, and you said you are already in that sector for 5 years. So how are you leveraging AI, and what kind of AI tools, or what is it you do to maybe increase your productivity, but maybe decrease your time, and like, what is it you do?
Yeah, so that's an excellent question. A few years ago, 3 years ago, I started I did all the preparation. So part of what I do is I do AI strategy for companies, and I help them with AI readiness before they put a tool in to make sure it's the right data, the right metrics, and we're going to have the right result in your business. And so I did that myself first. I asked myself, all right, how am I going to employ machine learning and deep learning? It's not just LLM. Everybody knows AI in the last couple of years since ChatGPT came out. That's like the icing on the cake. It's a very minimal part of what artificial intelligence actually is. And so I started with, what does the data look like? What data am I looking to achieve? How do I replicate myself? How do I make smarter decisions faster? So I started on the investment side, because I was looking at all these pitches. I invest in businesses and in properties and in private equity. And so I started with replicating that process. I'm sorry?
So coming on my deep dive in 1 hour.
I will. I will. But I run things through.
You don't need to come. Important is just to make the transfer. That's it.
Yeah. I hear. I got you. Well, but with AI, I started with what's going to free up my time the most. Like, where's the most of my time? And the most of my time was in due diligence. So I just documented all that, and I trained the AI on my processes and created my own private LLM. So I've had that for, 2 years now. And it was not cheap to do this, but I started there because that freed up a lot of time. I was going through 50, 60 deals a week and spending time researching the person. So now a lot of that is done for me, because I've trained on my processes. I've trained on all my red flags. I've trained on what I'm looking for. I've trained on my investment criteria in each asset class. And so when people are sending me pitches, it automatically runs through my system, and I don't even see the ones that I have filters for it. I don't even see the ones that don't match my filters.
Wow.
So, and that eliminates 90% easily of what was hitting me in my inboxes to begin with. And then it goes through a second pass, which is a deeper dive. If it passes the first screen, then it goes into a deeper dive, and it pulls all the external stuff. It does, like, I have it so that it does preliminary background. Can it find any loss? Like, it searches everything, and it pulls it for me and gives me a report. That used to take me hours.
Mm.
what to make a decision, like to do that. So that was the first step. I wanted to reclaim the most time because time is money. And then I started doing everything operationally on the intern. What do I have inside my businesses? What can I have it do for me? Anytime I'm transferring data from one place to another, because heaven knows that some of our applications don't talk well to each other. So we have to like manually anything where there was a manual data entry point or a transfer, it can now do all of that behind the scenes seamlessly. So I did that, and that freed up team time because I wasn't doing that at the time, but teams were. And so then what do I now have that I can delegate to team? So I took that approach. And so AI does a lot for me. It does a lot of my market research for me. I talk into it, whatever I want to say. I'm on television. I have 2 television shows. I did have 3 last year, but it was just too much. So I have 2 television shows. One's been on the air 2 years in the healthcare industry and peak human performance field, and the other Power CEO has been on the air for 5 years. And so I literally talk to it, and it helps procure. And I get pitched hundreds of people want to be on Power CEOs every week. And so it goes through all of that and it says, do they meet my metrics? Are they super successful? Have they had an exit? These are the topics that I'm preparing for. And it listens and it helps me to curate that too. So literally everything that I can do that I do repetitively is now integrated through AI to make it faster. Do I still have to be there? Yes. So you still need a human in the loop. It is not perfect. I still need to check the outputs. But those are the main things I do. And of course, like everybody knows about the copywriting and the video editing and all of that kind of stuff. So I have those tools as well that are utilized. But the biggest thing for me is how do I save more time? What's going to save more time for me and my team? Because time is money. And where do I need to upskill my team so that they can be doing revenue generating activities?
That's amazing. But when you
That
say
was a lot.
90% of that time doing all of that, so what then? Holidays? What did you use that time?
No, I truly believe that the number one reason that I'm successful is because I'm a relationship first person. So I'm putting deposits into the relationship ATM. I'm speaking, I'm appearing and on other people's stages. I'm adding value to their audiences. And I'm building new relationships to see who, like, what's the next investment? What's the next company? What's the next thing that I want to do? Because I've retired twice. And the first time it was in 2007 it lasted 2 weeks. I couldn't do it. And then the second time was in 2017. I retired sports medicine and it lasted one day. I'm
So
not wired for that.
but don't retire in 2027. The sevens are not your number. Okay, you need to do different numbers.
I'm not built that way. I am always I'm programmed for what's next. I was an athlete. I worked with like what's that next mountain that I can climb? And honestly,
I
it's
say
fun.
yourself as an athlete. You said you've been an athlete. So what kind of a discipline?
Yeah, I played soccer. I was a soccer player. Yes, I gave it up when I was after a couple of really heinous injuries as an adult, and like when I turned 40, I quit playing competitively. But yeah, I'm a soccer player, and then I also played softball. Had to give that up once college and later just because time. You can't devote time to 2 sports after a certain point in time. And then I was a runner. I've done several marathons. Like I said, I don't run like that anymore. I'm more a weight trainer. Like I'm a power lifter and I like recreational athlete. I'm a recreational athlete now.
That's great. But you can see that like you see that a lot of people who are doing any sort of sport, obviously they stick to it obviously for years. So they build that discipline, and that discipline can be taken to business, and those people are usually very successful in business.
Well, do you know why, Vincent? Like there's research behind this. If you think about it, think about any elite athlete. I mean, like the best of the best. They spend their entire lives failing. They spend their lives failing until they succeed. Like I've worked with Olympic gymnasts. To learn a new skill, they'll fail 99 times, 100 times, 200 times before they conquer that next skill. And they break it down into little things, but they are relentless with their resistance and their persistence. It is that drive and that work ethic and the ability to dust yourself off every time you fail in order to move forward. It's the exact same in business. Business is not the Instagram life. We don't just all of a sudden go into business and have this, like 6 months later, we're multiple millionaires. That's unrealistic if you've never done this before. And even if you have, it's yeah, it's a crapshoot how quickly you can do that.
Yeah.
But people think that if they fail once that this isn't going to be for them, or they give it a time frame of, I need to get this, I'm giving my business 6 months to get off the ground. Like, that's unrealistic if you've never been in business before, or even if you have and you're going into something completely different, because you have to it's like you start at ground zero. Even if
Mm.
you buy a business, you're not going to achieve the goals. Like, I have a lot of clients. I've been working with clients for scaling their businesses for years, and we'll add mergers and acquisitions. And they think when they acquire that business, it's gonna be off to the races. No, you have to integrate. There's like time for integration. It doesn't happen like a magic wand. There's always things that happen. And so that resilience is required in business for success as well. And if you're afraid of failure, you probably don't need to be an entrepreneur, because we learn so much when
Oh,
we don't succeed.
yeah. Cool. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing all of that. Yeah. Yeah. I
And I
used
fail
to,
big, Vincent. I fail big. Like,
yeah.
I'll tell you, like, this is really funny. I was speaking all over the world, and back before digital was a thing and before QR codes, I had thousands upon thousands of we used to do talk comment cards.
Hmm.
And it would be like your takeaways, and then they would like fill their information and hand it in. It was what we did, back way pre-pandemic when we would speak. So that we could, get the lead generation from that. And because we weren't always digital. I've been an entrepreneur since before the internet was a real thing. But I printed thousands of these things, but I didn't check the final edits, and I had the wrong digit, in like one wrong digit in my phone number. And so I went through months of giving these things out and never seeing anything. So I'm like, well, obviously this isn't hitting. Doesn't matter. Nobody's converting. Nobody's calling after the fact. Well, it took someone who actually knew me in my local market. I did it, and who knew my contact information, to say, hey, your phone number's wrong here. And the phone number was the first thing listed. So when the phone number was wrong, they didn't go to the website. They didn't go down the list. They didn't go to the email. And so I called the phone number, and the guy said, if one more person calls looking for Jen, I want to know who this Jen is. I'm so sorry. I'm Jen. It's completely my bad. I've given out thousands of these. Would you like me to, I will pay you to take over your phone number, trying to recapture that, because that break in trust happens. So when I fail big, but I own it, right? It's about owning it and taking responsibility and then coming back. And then I shared about that. I mean, that was years ago now. It was over 10 years ago, but
Did she give you the number?
no,
No.
no, he was not pleased.
Yeah.
He was not pleased, but I mean, you do what you can to set it right once you know what the problem is.
Yeah,
But
keep the
like, fail.
number. Keep the number. Another 1,000 people probably call you in the next month, but you want that, so whatever.
Yeah, that's how that went down. Some people, yeah, it's a thing, but don't be afraid to fail.
I definitely am not. So good. So I think we are almost by the end. We are going quite. It's really nice to be speaking with you. You have so many things to share. We didn't even tap into the M&As or anything like that. I mean, once maybe in the future, if you're not gonna say no, with some back ends kind of adding value, and you say yes in the future, so we might do it again, and you might share more about the M&A. But if there would be one piece of advice for someone who is running a business and feeling maybe stuck, what would you recommend them to do?
If you're feeling stuck in your business, it's time to pause and take 3 steps back. We need to get that 30,000, 40,000 foot view, and we're blind to it when we're in the day to day. That's the first thing. And if you take that step back and you assess everything that you're doing, you think about what you're doing, you ask yourself, what is my top priority in my business? Am I moving forward with this? And if the answer is no, or if you cannot see that clearly, then you have to reach out to a coach or a mentor, because what coaches and mentors do, like, imagine we're in a dark room and you've got a flashlight and you enter that dark room, you can only see where the flashlight is. And, you have that spotlight, and then there's some that's kind of grayed and shadowed, but all the stuff behind us there, we cannot see. But a coach grabs that and shines it in that corner and goes, see that? Look, that's anchoring you back to where you are. Or you need to fix this or fix that, because they have, I call it like they have new eyes, fresh eyes, and we've got project eyes. We've been so in it, building and doing. And if we're stuck, we have to change something. Something has to change, whether it's a mindset, whether it's a new strategy, whether it's just different tactics. We have to have a change, and we just can't see it for ourselves. So that's why a coach, a consultant, a mentor is so incredibly important, because they can see the things that we maybe can't, or maybe the things that we are afraid to look at, or that we know is back there, but we don't hold ourselves accountable. And as an athlete, we're very self-accountable, but there's always something that we miss. So it's really important to have those fresh eyes on our businesses. And sometimes too, it's not our business. Sometimes it's something in our life.